I'm talking about taking the entire visceral experience of cooking and eating and putting it online. We just call it minimalist. Drop the. It's cleaner that way. Back in '98, when salmon, mostly farm-raised salmon, was really becoming popular, I cooked with New York chef Katie Sparks at her then restaurant Quilty's. And she showed me a couple things which I've carried with me for a long, long time. One was taking a big, beautiful piece of salmon and cutting it into perfect restaurant-sized portions. And another is to put together a simple spice rub for that salmon. These days, I'm inclined to use wild salmon. I know many of you are also. But this is a really, really perfect thing to do with it at this time of year. It has some gorgeous Pacific King, and you want to buy a kind of center cut piece that you can cut into 4 steaks, pretty any much size you like. So you take a look at it, you make a mark at about the halfway point, then you make a mark where you're more convinced is the halfway point, and then the halfway point of that. And you cut 4 steaks. Obviously you want a sharp knife to do this, and obviously the steaks are not going to be perfectly even because the fish isn't, but they'll cook at about the same rate, and there's always someone who wants a smaller piece and someone who wants a bigger one. Like Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear, Goldilocks. So salt and pepper. Actually, it's nice to do this on all sides. This and the spice rub are really all the flavor you're going to get. So wind up with the fish facing up again. You can use the technique I'm about to show you with just salt and pepper and finish the fish with lemon. But you can use chili powder, curry powder, so you don't have to mess with mixing up your own spices. But this is what Katie and I did 15 years ago, whenever it was. A mixture of ground cumin, grated nutmeg, ground coriander, a tiny bit of ground cloves. Let's mix that up. We don't have smell-o-vision, but very fragrant, very lemony. Really nice. The cloves add a lot. And now this just goes on the top. But you want a good thick coating, and we're going to press these spices into this. Again, this is all the flavor you're adding to the fish, so you want a little of it in every bite. The salmon's nicely coated. Press them in a little bit. Meanwhile, preheat your pan, which should be nonstick or cast iron. So notice at this point, the salmon steaks look as if you dropped them in a sandbox. That's how you want them to look. Think of them that way. You put dirt all over them. They're fine. So you have a preheated pan here, a couple tablespoons of oil. When it's hot and swirly, which this is, the fish is going to go in coated side down. Biggest piece first. Should be a little louder than that. One refinement I made on this technique over the years is at the beginning, we cooked them on the first side for 3 or 4 minutes till they were almost done, and then put them in a hot oven for a couple minutes to cook evenly. But I found that cook for 3 or 4 minutes on the first side till they're almost done, turn them over a minute or 2 on the second side, and you have salmon that's nice, medium rare, really well browned, and you don't need to bother with the oven. So I want to show you how you know when these are done. With most fish, you want no resistance to a thin-bladed knife when you stick it in the middle of the thickest part. But with these salmon, because pieces of salmon you do want to be kind of on the rare side, you want to feel a little resistance right when you get to the center point, but you still want to be able to get the knife through there without shoving it through. And that'll tell you that it's, it'll tell you that it's firm, as you can see, not raw, but it's not overcooked either. In general, it's better to undercook a little bit than overcook because you can always put something back. But salmon, king salmon especially, which this is, very fatty, so it's kind of forgiving. As long as it's tender, as I showed you with the knife trick, you're in business. You'll see that pink stripe on the outside when the fish is medium rare. So you've got a cooked part on the bottom, a cooked part on the top, a little bit of rareness in the middle. That's what you're looking for. You wind up with this fish that's really tender and juicy. It's perfectly cooked with this nice, flavorful, crusty outside. Really quite good.